After posting that last video, I started to really like the idea of a ton of projectiles going outward. At first I was thinking of a secondary attack / power up for the staff, but the idea quickly evolved into abandoning the weapon switching system I had planned and making Bert a wizard, who can equip 2 to 3 spells at a time and interchangeably use them. I thought about this for a while and decided to focus on one task at a time and drew this abomination. Not only in what it is, but how well it's drawn. It's awful in every sense of the word. It's supposed to be a mutant of some kind, covered in ugly hair and a face with pincers. I got its run animation created and the voices behind the dumpster kept saying it looked like a beetle, so I reoriented its legs and turned it into a beetle rather than a humanoid. And finally I realized that the sprite just straight up sucked. I took its shape and changed the colors to try and make it look more beetle-like. Then I used my time very questionably and wrote it off as improving my knowledge of a sprite. Completely out of the blue, I fixed Bert's walking backward issue and made him always face the mouse. I decided the beetle altogether wasn't going to work, so I drew a minotaur with the intention of it being smaller than Bert and it would be called a minitar. Mini minotaur. I'm aware that it is not at all clever. And yeah, I spelt Minotaur wrong the entire time. And no, I will probably never fix it, but that's what I said about Bert facing east, so we'll see. I didn't mention this before, but it's a Cyclops, and the eye follows the player. Pretty cool if you ask me. After I've given this thing a slightly living feature, here's a clip of Bert abusing it. I programmed in his health system so he could take damage and die. Then Bert became a war criminal.
Remember, no rushing.
After senselessly murdering thousands of them, I gave them the ability to follow Bert and fight back. They just walk the quickest path to Bert and then give Bert the old smack when they get close. The next enemy I created was a summoner type. I took the Bert sprite and changed the colors, gave him a cooler hat and an eviler looking staff. In compliance with the voices behind the dumpster, I called him Auntie Bert. Basically, he would move around and summon these things, which I called spirits for no particular reason. While designing Auntie Bert, I completely forgot that the original plan was for Bert to be able to switch weapons, so the staff counterpart doesn't make a ton of sense, but I rolled with it anyway. The import issue had again reared its ugly head, and this time worse. Part of Auntie Bert's hat was missing, so I had to fix it now. A quick search later and it turned out to be an issue with using small sprites and Unity's compression system. So I disabled compression for all of my sprites and look at that. Bert's looking mighty fine if you ask me. And I'm off topic. I threw Auntie Bert in and gave him 3 animations: run, summon, and idle. Then I switched it up and made him a ghost. I coded his minions first so they could be thrown right in when I program his summon ability. They basically act just like the Minotaur. They move toward the player and attack him when they get close enough. Then I program the summoner. Every 15 seconds he picks a random location on the map and moves to it. Then he spawns as many spirits as he can before he needs to move again. He also gives Bert the old smack when he gets too close. I got him working and jumped immediately into a ranged enemy. To do this, I once again sought counsel from the voices behind the dumpster. They told me to do a crab who tosses bottles at Bert. So I drew those sprites, and with help from the voices behind the dumpster, I created the best animations I could have for this little guy. Not that they're at all good quality-wise, but the idea is pretty good. Their beauty speaks for itself. Here's a clip of the final product with some size variation. They also very poorly try to dodge the player's projectiles. Anyway, that's it. Subscribe if you'd like to see more. Later, nerds.